So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is I got sued by Capital One, and I looked on my credit reports and it's not on there. So is it too late to sue? Well, first of all, I want to say if you've been sued, that's very smart to pull your credit reports to see what is this account saying. Because it could be Capital One suing you. It could be a debt collector like Midland, Portfolio, LVNV, all these companies out there filing literally 100 lawsuits or more a week each. So tremendous amount of lawsuits in Alabama. So it's smart to get your credit reports and check that out. Just because it's not on your credit report does not mean that there's too much time that has gone by. So basically, when you have what's called a first major delinquency, that's kind of a trigger. And then we go forward about 7 years. That's how long it can be on your credit report. Well, what about the time period to sue? That's what we call statute of limitation. And a lot of controversy over it. I frankly don't think it's that complicated, but we say it's 3 years. The collection industry says, no, it's 6 years to sue. There's arguments about, well, what if you go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, don't make a payment, and then you make a $5 payment? Does that restart statute of limitation? The collection lawyers say, oh, absolutely, no doubt. And it's not quite that simple. But basically, and again, you meet with a lawyer to get more specific information. I'm just giving you kind of a general, we're not covering every exception to every exception here. Basically, you look back and say, when was my last payment? And then you start going forward from there. Now, are you more than 3 years? Are you more than 6 years? So if you've got 7 years for credit reporting and some smaller period of time for statute of limitation, if it's not on your credit report, then obviously it's beyond, well, maybe not. Because it could be it's just not reporting. It could be it was mistakenly deleted. So you definitely want to look at that long period of time for credit reports. Look at your credit reports. It'll have date of last payment, date of last activity. That's important to you. And a lot of times we find what's on the credit report conflicts with what they're saying in these lawsuits. So very helpful for your credit reports. But just understand, simply because it's not on your credit report doesn't mean that it must have been more than 7 years ago. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. The last thing I'll say, and this is something we try to harp on a lot, because the biggest danger when you've been sued is not answering the lawsuit. You get what's called a default judgment. You lose. Regardless of anything else, you lose. So understand this. When you've been served, when you get a copy of the lawsuit, you have 14 days to answer. And then you have, that's in small claims or district court, and you have 30 days to answer if you're in circuit court. So keep those dates in mind. And if you have a statute of limitation defense, then you put that in your response. But definitely get with the lawyer, find out what your options are. A lot of times you can handle this on your own, either to fight it, to settle it, or you can hire a lawyer to fight it or settle. Occasionally, bankruptcy is appropriate. So we do have a long webinar, I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes or something, on your 5 options. And then we answer a whole bunch of questions that naturally come up. But to answer this question specifically, just because it's off your credit reports does not mean it's too late to sue.